It's SHTF. It's the apocalypse. The world is end as we know it. I'm hungry. How do you avoid that? How do you prepare? Stay tuned. Greetings and salutations. I'm Gil.
And I'm Gil, and this is Strategic Prepper.
Today we're going to talk about food storage, food preservation, and how to build up our prepper food supply. We hear many people on the internet talk about having 1 year, 2 years worth of food. Very good goals. How do you get there? We're going to talk about that today. When it comes to food storage, where do we begin? What's our end goal? We're going to talk about storing our working pantry. We're going to talk about long-term storage. We're going to talk about how to build the steps. Remembering the strategic prepper system of building basically from concentric circles, starting at 3 days of readiness, being prepared for 3 weeks, then building that out and being prepared for 3 months, and adding to that for 1 year and then 3 years and beyond. So we want to start systematically and build that approach. And we've got videos on that. So please check out those videos, 5 steps to begin prepping and the 6 levels of preparedness. So take a look at those. They explain that process. They explain the risk assessment process, which helps us to build this. So let's go ahead and get started. Where do we start? I like to start with canned foods. The reason being is very often we don't have a lot of money, but if we buy 1 or 2 cans of extra food and mix it up every time we go to the store, before you know it, you've got a bunch of extra cans. As you can see, I've got a lot of cans. I've got a lot of variety here. I've got beans, yams, different soups, vegetables, fruits, more beans. And if you can see in the corner, I've got meats. It's very important to diversify. So we're going to talk about some of the different things here first, but I want to kind of jump ahead to the rack. This is called the FIFO rack, first in, first out. You can see I've got different styles. This is a 2-tier. This is a 3-tier because I've got more of these. These here just have got 1 layer. So basically I put the can in and I take out from here. Why is this important? Why am I talking about this? You want to have stock rotation. What we're going to do eventually by adding cans and adding more cans is we are going to build a 3-month working pantry. This is stuff that we cook with all the time. This is stuff that we use in the kitchen. So we want 3 months of food gradually, 1 or 2 extra cans. You see something on sale, you buy a few extra cans and you build that up. Before you know it, you will have a 3-month supply in the pantry. Before you get any long-term storage, you want to work on that pantry. And the FIFO racks really help to make sure that you've got good stock rotation. You want to take the oldest first, and when you add the new ones, you put them on the top, and you can see they just rotate through. They also save space. You can see I've got a lot of cans in a small area. Very effective. Now, you can also see sometimes I buy more than the rack will hold. That's okay. You still want to remember to take from the bottom first and rotate those stocks. Everything has a shelf life. The cans usually several years, but like I said, FIFO racks. There's a variety. We talk in a number of our videos about balance. You can see the nutritional balance. When it comes to prepping for food, there's 2 things that matter. And you want to keep this in mind when you're building your stores: calories and nutrition. We operate as Strategic Prepper based on an average of 2,200 calories per person per day. There's going to be days we use more than that. There's going to be days that we use less than that. But that's how we calculate the calories. And we figure this out on what we're going to buy. A couple of things. Protein, very important. It's also the hardest to get in an SHTF grid down situation. Now, some people will argue because they've got a good farm. For the average person, I'm in the suburbs right now. I don't have a farm. My HOA says I can't have a chicken. Now, stay tuned. We just bought our piece of land that's going to be our prepping paradise, and we will eventually have our own protein on that piece of property. But right now, we're in the suburbs like a lot of people. We need our protein. I also like easy meals, and I don't want to take this out because this is the oldest, but I've got meals already made. This is ravioli, more ravioli. I've got soup down here, good balance. Sometimes all you want to do is open something up and be able to heat it. We've got plenty of capability here. So canned food, we have calculated this out. We have looked at possible meals. We have more than a 3-month supply in here. And by the way, if you're going to start counting, I just want to give you a little heads up. This is not our entire food store. So this is just what we have brought here in the room so that we can have this conversation. Cans, a bunch of cans, as you can see, with a variety. So along with those, you want to have different additives for different liquids. We talked in a different video about water storage. Well, sometimes you want different flavoring. We've got hot cocoa. We've got Gatorade. Electrolytes are very important. We also have a bunch of individual packets that you can carry with you, but we've got Gatorade packets. Lemonade. I mean, who doesn't like lemonade? Well, I'm sure somebody doesn't, but I don't. We've got several more Gatorades in here. We also have, and you can probably see over there, just take a look. We also have whey protein, a good drink additive as well. It's a good drink additive, especially in an SHTF environment. Let's come on back over here. All right, when it comes to preparing for a grid down situation, an SHTF, whatever you want to call it, the apocalypse, as you can kind of deduce, I like to try to keep things simple because we're going to have enough other things to worry about. So I also suggest instant coffee. You may be used to brewing coffee, and I also have a camp percolator so I can brew coffee. But you get some hot water, you throw some packets in. This is Black Rifle coffee. Excellent. I've got a whole container. This is all instant coffee. Different varieties, different types. So instant coffee, Gatorade, electrolytes, hot chocolate, cold chocolate, variety, get well balanced. Some of the other things that we've got in our working pantry, we've got some honey. This is store-bought honey. I've got a lot of honey here from a local honey farm. Honey lasts forever, no shelf life. We talk about easy. Muffin mix, add hot water, becomes muffins. What else do we have? Different sauces. It's important that we, as we're talking about balance, making sure that we can add things to our food. Want to make sure that our food is edible. So we've got oils, mayonnaise, different sauces, preserves, spices. What else do we have up here? Just a wide range of different additives. We have pastas. Pastas store very well. This is our working pantry, so we've got plenty of pasta on the shelves. We're going to talk about long-term storage in just a bit, and we've got more pasta there as well. Let's come and take a look over here. Other ideas, again, on the working pantry. We also like the herbal teas, so we've got boxes of herbal teas. Notice I try to organize and keep things neat. This is at one of those dollar stores, Dollar General or Dollar Store, I don't remember which one. Very cheap. They're good containers. They help me to stay organized. Mug in a cake. Mug cake? Sorry. Mug cake. Just add water. Again, you want a muffin? Add some hot water. Voila, you've got a muffin. We try to mix things up. Different spices. We got a whole slew of different flavorings. Back here, you really can't see them. We got more broccoli beef seasoning mix, ranch dressing. We try to wait till these are on sale and then we buy extra. And again, notice the ease in preparation for a lot of these. beef stew, chicken dumplings, more protein. We've got chicken, we've got tuna, corned beef, canned cheese. Who doesn't like cheese? This will last a long time. Canned butter. Okay, these are important items to have for a grid down situation. This is more of the instant. This is flapjacks. Okay, oatmeal and a greater variety. We also keep some protein drinks here as well. As you can see, we've got other cans as well. So that is our working pantry. That's a good look at our working pantry. That's going to get us 3 months. 3 months is not going to be enough. We need at least a year plus whatever the growing season is. If I've just missed the planting season, I haven't put anything in the ground, and grid goes down, I have to wait all the way to next year to the planting season, and then I have to wait to harvest season. So year is not a bad start. At least a year and a half plus worth of food. We've got a year and a half here in the house. Once we move to our prepping location here in a couple of months, and we're going to have many videos as we share with you how we try to develop the land, but we're going to expand on that. But right here in the suburbs, we've got a year and a half worth of food in this house. So that's the 3 week working pantry. Let's talk a little bit about food preservation. One of the things that I've tried to do is learn to can the food. So as you can see, I've got some blueberries. I've got some strawberries. I've canned those last year. I've got the water bath method container here. I've got the pressure method. I've used them both. I've experimented, but I've never been around canning before. I talked with a number of you great ladies that gave me some guidance on the internet, and you assure me that my stuff should be okay. So I'm going to take my strawberries. This weekend, I'm going to eat some. We'll see if I live. We'll see if I die. We'll see if I get sick. I'm going to test my own canning method. Drum roll, please. Da, 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 da. So a little bit of drama. I'll give you an update, or I may not give you an update if it didn't work. So we'll find out. I'm a little apprehensive because, like I said, I've never been around canning. Everything looks good. I pull up the lids. They each still have a great seal. So we can see each one has a great seal. No ring on them. I followed the instructions. We'll see how well I can follow the instructions. So one of the ways to get longer term storage is to can the foods. Another way, and so we talk about the beginning steps, and we talk about a 3 month working pantry. And I think Gil Jr.'s got something to add to this. So Gil, let's go to you.
Thanks. Let me start off by showing you my freezer. So here, you can see there, we got a nice fully stocked freezer. You can see a lot of this is meat. If you remember during COVID, meat was one of the first things that go off the shelves. So we rotate through this. The old stuff's at the bottom, the newer stuff's at the top. Now we are in the process of reevaluating this. So remember, we talk about our systems, right? We're always evaluating what we're doing, if it works, if we need to make any adjustments. So with this, we're looking at this and saying, you know what? The meat is staying in there for a long time before we actually get to it. So we don't really need to have that much on hand. So we're actually probably going to reduce the amount of meat we got on hand. So remember, right, we're starting to build our food preparation. So we always start small, right, baby steps. So when I started out doing this, I was making $15 an hour, living alone, 550 square foot apartment, not a lot of space, not a lot of money. So what I started doing was I started buying canned food. I would do my groceries every Friday or Saturday, and then so I'd buy them for the rest of the week. And what I figured was, well, these canned food, $1, $1.50 a can, I can buy 1 or 2 cans a week. My budget can absorb that. So that's what I started doing. Basically $2 a week, give or take. So I would buy, you see here, I've got roasted chicken, one of those Campbell's chunky meals. I do have the heart healthy versions. We've got here a can of sweet pea, low sodium. I got my protein, some corned beef, some low sodium Spam. And you'll notice I like to get the low sodium stuff just because it's better for you. But I also will write the expiration date on the Sharpie, with the Sharpie on the top. And I'll organize them from oldest to newest and whatnot. One thing too to remember if you're going to get those, make sure you have a can opener. So I have separate can openers, one that I normally use and then one separate stored just with the canned food. But so every week I would buy 1 or 2 cans, right? I'd look at see what's on sale, but I might get fruit one week, I might get vegetables another week, I might get protein a different week. But you do that, and I would also mix in some water. You'll see we got a water video. So I'd mix in a pallet of water, or not a pallet, a case of water. But I would do that every week, and before you know it, you look back and you got a month's worth of food, no problem. Now one thing to note, it might be tempting to look at this and say, hey, that's one meal. Okay, so I need 3 of these a day. Nah, look at the back. This is per container 210 calories. That's not enough for a meal. So you got to take that into account when you're doing your calculations. So I started with that, and then I'll expand out a little bit as I had more space, more money, get my bases covered and start expanding out, right? So I'd also get spaghetti. I like pasta, so I'd get different pastas, and then the accompanying sauce too I would keep. That sauce will last a decent amount of time, so I'd rotate through that. These packets of macaroni and cheese, I have a few of these. All right, so these are things, make sure you're getting things that you actually like to eat. Rotate through them. Some ramen, I like some ramen every once in a while. They're not bad, so they're cheap, they have calories. They're not the best for you, so don't rely exclusively on ramen. Make sure you mix it up with some other stuff, but it's not bad to have. Also, things like instant mashed potatoes, add that in there. So this one's like 500 calories per bag. Oatmeal, again, I like to eat oatmeal for breakfast sometimes, so I have a month's worth of oatmeal. Basically, 1 box is a week's worth, so I have 4 boxes. Now just 1 per week, and when I get done, I buy another one the next week. I'm always rotating through it. Also, these little smoothie drink packets. So as I build my base and start building out, I got some kind of my core food taken care of as I have a month, 2 months, 3 months, right? I start adding in things like that smoothie drink. It's good to have variety, good pick-me-up, especially if you're in a situation where you're using this. It's probably be a good idea to have a morale booster, right? So I would start with that, cost effective. Then you could also move on to things like these Bridgeford ready-to-eat sandwiches. This is apple turnover. You just crack it open and eat it, no preparation necessary. That's also a good thing about a lot of the canned food is I don't need to be able to heat it up. These Mountain House meals, again, it's good to have variety, good source of calories. And for the camping food, they also have these cookie dough bites, right? So again, snacks, morale booster, it's nice to have. I like to drink coffee, so I'd buy extra coffee every once in a while. And you can see I'm starting to build stuff out. Don't forget also an electrolyte beverage. I like the Oral IV. One thing to note, I got 2 different flavors, passion fruit and lemon lime. I like the passion fruit. I do not like the lemon lime. So I'll buy more of this. I won't buy more of that. Make sure you test your stuff. Be careful with the electrolyte beverages. Some of them are really sugary. So some of them are definitely better than others. So just do some basic research. Again, make sure you like them. And then moving on, Patriot Pantry had a sale a while back, 50% off for the 72-hour kits. So I'm always looking for deals. So I bought a couple of these. These are basically freeze-dried meals. I also like to have the Lifeboat rations. So these attack bars, they're pretty pricey for what they are. They are more calorie dense. So 2,500 calories per packet, 5 packets. It's also got water purification tablets in the sealed ammo can. But basically 5 days worth of food, right? Space, it's very compact, so it's very space efficient. So if you're in an apartment, right, you can put some of these in your cabinets, put them in your vehicle. Again, these are pricey, but they have the other Lifeboat rations that you can get at some of your sporting goods stores. So those are also good options to have. But with this, you're starting small, it's piece by piece. Make sure you got variety, make sure you got all your bases covered nutritionally. I'll also store up a little bit of extra oil. So things that I normally use, right? So I cook with canola oil, I got a little bit of olive oil, but So instead of just this, I got 2 more in the pantry, right? Salt, sugar, stuff like that. Things that you normally use on a regular basis, just have a little bit extra to rotate through them. Bonus content. Do not forget about your animal's food. You see here, I have a sealed container that I keep food. I've got a dog and a cat. So the food that I will feed them out of, I put in these sealed containers. You can see that they are empty. So I'll run them through here, and then I keep the spare bags in here, and I just get a subscription service to where I get the bag shipped to me. That way I've always got a few months of food on hand.
Thanks, Gil. That was very good information. Appreciate it. I want to talk to you a little bit about long-term storage. Once you start building and you get a solid base for your working pantry, you want to start looking at some options for longer-term storage. I've got several different options here. I would recommend that you experiment with different campers meals and backpacker meals. I've got a number of different companies because I've tried different ones. This is Mountain House. This is Oatmeal's. Ready Wise, as you can see. I've even tried this Grizzly Bear emergency food rations. 1 cube like this is supposed to be good for 1 person for 3 days. And as you can see over here, I've got a whole container full. So we've got several different options here for long-term storage. Try different things. You can also buy different kits. Again, based on my philosophy of not putting all my eggs in one basket, I like different companies. Now, I'm not really going to know until I actually need to use this which one works. One of these days, I'll start opening them up. But I bought several of these kits. This is a 6-day basic pail by Grizzly Ridge, and it's got different meals for 6 days. This is a Wise Company emergency food. I've got quite a few pails from Wise, and Ready Hour. Now, just a word on these. They will tell you certain number of days based on a certain number of calories. I would suggest that you take a look at how they're counting their calories. A lot of times they'll have a lot of powdered drinks in there that, yes, those powdered drinks add calories, but they really don't do a whole lot for nutrition. They don't do a whole lot for hunger. When I count my calories in this pantry and in my long-term stores, I don't count powdered drinks. I've got plenty of powdered drinks. I don't count them. I count real food. So some companies are better than others. Do your own math and count real food in those packages. If you just drink a glass of sugar water and that's your meal, you're not going to feel very satisfied. So take a look at how they're counting. They all count differently, and they all count a meal for a person differently. For me, 2,200 calories per person per day. I imagine I'll be doing a lot of physical activity. I'll need some calories. 2,200 may not be enough, but it's my target, and that's what I do my math on. Take a look on what is in these containers. They're pretty dang expensive too. Unless you're rolling in money, you may not be able to buy too many. A cheaper way is containerizing your own. If you take a look at here, I've got 2, and yes, I've got a whole bunch more. I just I can't stack them all in this room. So we fill these 5-gallon pails up, and I've tried a couple of different methods. You can see that I write on the top of each container what is in the container. And I do the date. This one smudged a little, but I add the date, I add the contents so that I know what's in it and when I put it in there. I tried a couple different philosophies. I don't know what's going to work. We'll find out when grid goes down. We'll find out when the world ends as we know it. One philosophy is to have a container of one complete item, a full container of rice, a full container of oatmeal. Another philosophy I experimented with is try to have a standalone pail that has multiple items in it. I probably have more pails like that. So I've got a mixture. I do have some pails that are filled with coffee because I love my coffee and everyone else loves coffee. I've got regular food. I've got a number of types of food that will store long. As you can see on the floor here, I have a number of other food items I'm about to containerize. I've got several packages of beans. I've got pancake mix, just add water. I've got oatmeal. What else do I have? I've got sugar. I put the salt on the shelf already. I've got some more cans. Cornmeal. Just trying to get a variety. Rice. And we're going to put these in more 5-gallon pans here in just a little bit. So some people take their food and they just put it in the pail, they seal the pail. Some people like Mylar bags. I like to combine the two. I think you get better freshness and better protection. I do know for a fact that mice have eaten through these 5-gallon pails. But they're not going to be able to smell the food if it's in a Mylar bag. This is a Mylar bag. This is designed for a 5-gallon pail. You put this inside the pail, you put the food in. I've got oxygen absorbers. The first thing I do is I suck out as much oxygen out of the bag as I can. And then I put the oxygen absorbers in. And I also have silicone for humidity because I want to reduce the humidity in those containers. So these are the tools that I use to seal up the 5-gallon pails. I probably have enough for about 4 more pails that I will be doing here in the very near future. All right, let's go back to Gil. And Gil, what are your thoughts on this?
All right, so long-term food storage. Some of this you just seen, you're gonna see some similarities, right? But remember, so we've built up our pantry, right? We've got a few months worth of food and now we're building out, right? We're looking for long-term stuff. So there's a few different methods we could do this. Fairly common, you will see people will take food, dried goods, and put them in these Mylar bags, put an oxygen absorber in them. And you'll see with this one, it's sucked down pretty good. They won't always do that, okay? Remember, air is only about 20% oxygen, but this one did. And you can see I put here 5 pounds of rice. I put the date on there. Some of them I will put in 1-gallon bags like this. Reason being, it makes it easier to divvy up my food. So I also have, see if you can see it, 5-pound bucket or 5-gallon bucket. That right there has about 27 pounds of rice. And that's just 5 gallons rice dumped in, boom, oxygen absorber put away, right? So you think about the difference between that 5-gallon bucket and this 1 gallon. If I have 5 of these, I'm only exposing a gallon at a time to the air. So it'll help my food last longer. Also, if I'm helping people out, family members, neighbors, if I got a community I need, or we're bartering or we're trading, whatever we're doing, it just makes it easier to manage. Now, they're not all in this because it is more economical just to dump it in a bucket, oxygen absorber, boom, seal it, suck all the air out, right, seal it. So there's value in doing both. Just don't overlook this, okay? A lot of times what I'll do too, so it's not just rice, beans, the different type of beans, lentils, chickpeas, stuff like that. Make sure it's stuff that you like to eat, remember, right? But I'll also do pasta for the packaging, the size and the weight. Well, not the weight, the size. It's about the similar amount of calories. But if I'll do a pasta pack like this. In fact, I got, I don't feel like digging it out. But there's one in there where I've got a packet like this. Then I will put in one of those dry Alfredo sauce mixes. And I'll just put it in together and I'll put that in the 1-gallon bags, okay? So when we're doing a long term, if you guys have ever just eaten rice and beans with no seasoning whatsoever, I've done it. That's another story for another time. It sucks. It's terrible, okay? So remember to start storing seasoning. So with this, I'll store seasoning. I will store like barbecue seasoning packets with the rice, just different dry seasoning. Also, part of my long term is we'll slowly start building these little, we'll buy these little seasoning packets, salt, pepper. This is Cajun seasoning. This is onion powder, just whatever seasonings you like to use. And then I'll put them in these buckets. with my food. And I mix it up. I will have a lot of my food with seasoning in it, but then I'll have other buckets that just have seasoning and condiments in them, okay? A word on the buckets. Let me move some of this stuff. I got you in one of my storage rooms here. So, it's like a 2.5 pound bucket. And you say, man, where did you get a 2.5 pound bucket? Everyone uses 5-gallon buckets. I got this for free, okay? Little known trick, little known, and it might be well known by now. Go to your local bakeries, your small town bakeries. Go to Walmart, Kroger, stuff like that. Ask them. A lot of times they will give away their icing buckets. Walmart here locally sells them for $1, okay? Now, some of them are cleaner than others. Generally, you got to clean them out. That's fine. But yeah, these are free, right? These are icing buckets. So, hey, free's free. So, 4 pounds of beans, 1 pound of pasta. I had the date. Notice I duct tape. I write on the duct tape so I don't permanently alter my bucket, and I write on the bucket, not on the lid. Because if I pull this off and have a couple open, which lid goes to which bucket, you might forget. So that's how I do it. And you just saw too, I obviously do have regular buckets. One thing I'm experimenting with, I got one of these larger Husky sealed containers, okay? They're not the 5-gallon buckets everyone talks about, but I'm further along in this, right? So I've done a lot of these free, cheaper methods of storing. That gives me other spots I can put food, right? So I can slide that underneath the bed. Or if I'm loading up my bug out vehicle, right? People talk about bugging out. I might be able to put that into space where a round bucket may not fit. So don't overlook solutions like that. Because remember, the goal of this, you're taking out the air. The Mylar keeps rodents from smelling this. And then the bucket just protects these bags, okay? So that's the whole point. So if you can put it in some kind of container, it doesn't have to be 5-gallon buckets. 5-gallon buckets are a good option. You really do want something that's got a seal as another layer of protection. But so you can get creative with that. I will also put away sugar, right? So when I do sugar, I like to buy the pre-sealed ones. This is a larger Domino one. They also make like the little coffee sugar deals there that are sealed. I like to get them sealed because sugar, salt, if you store them incorrectly, you can end up with this hard brick. So I was like, you know what? Take some of the guesswork out of it. Let someone else do the sealing, and I'll put this in a separate container. You can buy number 10 cans of salt and sugar if you're concerned about it, that all the guesswork's been put out of it. But having sugar is also good. And I just mentioned number 10 cans. I got potato shreds. I've got dried whole egg powder, right? All kinds of ingredients. Pancake mix, soup mixes, scrambled eggs, okay, peas. I like the Augustin Farms because they're cost effective. I'm going to start getting some of the Nutrient Survival. It's a newer company. I'm going to try them out. They're more nutrients conscious. They focus on giving you the proper nutrients, as the name would suggest. So stay tuned for that. I'll get some of those in the not too distant future. But the bulk of my calorie allotment will be the rice, beans, pasta. Why? They're space and cost efficient. That's why. Okay. I'll buy like a 1 or 5 pound bag at Kroger. What I'm gonna start doing, which I already did once, but some of these buckets here, I went to Costco and I bought 200 pounds of rice. Okay. And if you look a lot, man, you can get some that's 8 cents an ounce. My mouth could be off. They do have some varieties that are like half the cost of everything else. Same thing with beans. And so that's not a bad, if you're a Costco member, if you got a friend that's a Costco member, it's not a bad way to do it. You can get it cheaper than if you would just go buy it at Walmart. Sometime in the next few months, I'm probably going to go to Costco and just buy like 500 pounds of rice, beans, sugar, stuff like that. As we look at the potential for inflation and whatnot, I'm going to start moving more towards that direction. But the bulk of that, like I said, the bulk of my calories is that. I can easily just buy more and more and more and scale up my reserves. They're also very cost efficient. I like the mix of beans and lentils and rice. Lentils are faster to cook, but also gives me different nutrients, right? Not just rice, gives you some different proteins. And also I like the pasta with the sauces, give me some variety, roughly the same amount of calories for the space to take up, okay? And some other things I start adding in as I grow stuff out. I bought this packet. I think I bought these from Costco. These Knorr's rice sides. They're dry. I will stick these in with my rice and beans just as a side, add some flavoring, and to add to my meals. Okay, so we mentioned the seasoning. Of course, salt. I will buy iodized and non-iodized. From what I understand, the non-iodized last longer, but you do need iodine in your diet, so I'll store both. So, let me move some of my stuff. Oh yes, don't forget flour, right? So I will also do the freeze-dried meals. So you see here I got the Mountain House. And here I've got the ReadyWise, okay? The reason why I like changing them up, first is weight. The freeze-dried meals are a lot lighter, okay? So you see how lightweight this is. But also, I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket, right? So with the other food, I'm relying on my ability to package them correctly. This stuff is already packaged, good for 25 years, okay? The downside, the cost, the amount of calories per space, again, those are downsides. With all of these, it's going to require water and heat to prepare. So I have to have a stove system, camping stove, stuff like that already, or wood, you got a wood burning stove, whatever you've got, you got to be able to cook with it. If you're going to add these into your preps, I would recommend going with the Mountain House over ReadyWise. I don't like ReadyWise, or Wise Foods as it used to be called. If you look at the calorie allotment, it's kind of screwy. It doesn't really work out. If you're going to eat 3 square meals a day and getting your appropriate amount of calories, it just doesn't match. How many calories is in each bucket, for example? How many calories do I need per day? And I just do some simple math. It's just about the calories. And then also, MREs, they're off screen. I don't feel like digging them out. It's a pain. I got them stored away. I have about 4 cases of MREs. Not a lot, okay? Not 50 cases. MREs are expensive. They're heavy, but they're calorie dense. And like the name implies, they're ready to eat. So I do have some of those. I just tear them open and eat them. They don't last that long. If you're going to get them, store them. You know, you really want to store them like 72 degrees, right, in the house. Cool, dark place. When you raise the temperature, the shelf life goes down dramatically, okay? The lower the temperature, the better, really. But I do have some of those. Because like I said, if it's in a disaster, for example, Hurricane Harvey. I was in southern Louisiana during Hurricane Harvey. And yeah, MREs came in handy. I could hand them out to people, help people out, right? They need calories now. They're out there and it's cold and wet. So that kind of situation, it's easy to hand out. Might be easy for yourself. You got a bug out. You're in a small car, let's say. Maybe you don't have a big vehicle. Boom, you get you some lifeboat rations, a case of MREs, and you're going, right? So put that, consider that, adding that to your systems.
All right, great stuff, Gil. Thanks a lot. So that's a look at food stores. We have a number of different techniques. We have a number of different ways to store food, number of different types of food. Key thing is balance. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Try different techniques. I do have a garden, and I have I'll get a video. In fact, you know what? I'm going to add a picture right here. This is my herb solar dehydrator. So I grow basil, rosemary, things like that, and for long-term storage I want to dehydrate. So I put it in this dehydrator, and I will let the sun dry that out, keeps the bugs from it and all that. So different ways to preserve food. You want to first of all work on the 3-month working pantry. Make sure it's stuff that you use. Make sure that you have a stock rotation so you don't end up with a bunch of out of stock material. Balance your food. Start out 1 or 2 extra cans every payday. Look for sales, slowly build up. Almost anyone should be able to do that. We can cut out a cup of coffee, we can cut out something to build up that supply. After you're close to that 3 months, you can start to work on your long-term storage. And I would recommend starting small again with backpackers meals, individual meals, and then experiment. Get a 5-gallon pail and store some material, store some dry material. There's a number of YouTube videos out there that'll explain what should go in those pails and what we should store. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. We talked about our plan, We talked about our system. If you want a PDF that explains that system, please leave your email in the comment section and I'll be glad to send you that. Also check out our videos, our 5 steps to begin prepping and our 6 levels of preparedness. Those videos will help guide you through the process, that along with the PDF. So please click the thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified of some of the other excellent videos that we've got coming up. All right, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.